The story is written, there's a version of the story in the National Post by Christy Blatchford, who is a real supporter of the troops. Can you give us the basic facts of how this memorial was announced, where it is, the restrictive access to it, and some of the excuses put up by the Canadian Forces?
Yeah, it blew my mind when I saw this several days back. I commented on it, and I was absolutely stunned that they had held a memorial service in secret that only included serving members of our military and allied militaries, that they delayed the notification of this service to the public with the excuse that they were sending letters to the family of the fallen to let them know that the ceremony had taken place, even though they weren't invited in any way, shape, or form. Then they began to make excuses when it did become public, that, they wanted a dignified service, as if having veterans of the Afghan War, wounded veterans of the Afghan War, or families of the fallen in attendance wouldn't have, in fact, brought a sense of dignity to that ceremony. It should have been held in public. It should have been publicized, because I think all Canadians want to not celebrate, but remember the ultimate sacrifice that these men and women paid for their fellow Canadians during this conflict. And then to go on and put it into a annex of the National Defence Headquarters, which ensures that no veteran, no Canadian will ever get to visit this memorial. Only people that are still serving can get in, or families of the fallen if they send in a request for a specific viewing time. It's absolutely disgusting that they would do this. It's absolutely disheartening that our government would treat veterans in this way.
There's so many things about this that I mean, this cannot be accidental. Surely someone must have mentioned it. It's not almost as if, I'm not going to pretend that there's any doubt here. They are ashamed of this. They want to have this in some little tucked away place. There's this one quirk that Christy Blatchford talks about where couriered letters were sent to the families of the fallen on May 10th saying, the first line of the letter is, the Afghanistan Memorial was officially opened on May 13th. So they sent these letters out before it happened saying, oh, it's already happened, it's all over. Like, every single thing here is weird. They didn't even tweet about it. They didn't have a press release about it. They didn't tell anyone about it till after the fact. And I'm sorry, I had my stats wrong. There were 40,000 Canadians who served in Afghanistan over the course of years, and there were 1,800 who were wounded. The number of people who had to be in on this bizarre secret keeping surely measures dozens or hundreds. This was a planned diminution of the valor of the 159 fallen and the 1,800 wounded. This is almost as big a scandal as the Mark Norman scandal in my mind, Lee.
It is baffling, because you're right. Hundreds would have been involved in the planning of this, from public affairs, senior officials in the Department of National Defense, on the Chief of Defense side of the equation, as well as senior members in the Minister of National Defense's office. PMO would have been involved. PCO would have been involved. Everybody at the senior level of government would have been involved in this, as well as Veterans Affairs. And something like this doesn't happen by accident. This was planned. They purposefully decided to keep this from the public, to keep it from the families of the fallen, to keep it from wounded Afghan vets, to keep it from Canadians. It's absolutely disgusting what they've done here. And on top of the Mark Norman fiasco, it just says that this government, this minister, this Chief of Defense staff have absolutely fallen from grace. I mean, I'm lost for words to describe what they've done here.
Yeah.
I really am.
That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a video monologue and then I interview an interesting guest. And then I end by reading my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at therebel.media/shows.